Hello, and welcome back to the continuing adventures, I guess, of my gnome colony as they survive, I guess, in the wilderness. Yeah, this is not my usual introduction. I got nothing. Anyway, welcome back to Gnomoria. There we go. Well, lastly we left off, I had gotten done explaining how groves operate, as well as how professions operate. And, we had just reached the point where I was ready to start teaching about how building works, and we're going to do that now. So you'll notice that my gnomes are busy at work down here in the, what is to be my great hall and my dining area. Let us in fact go ahead and designate this area as such. This is the dining room. It is also huge, and I will include those spaces once they're available. It is also considered my great hall. So idle gnomes gather there, the worth of my great hall attracts more nomads, and only one dining room can be designated as the great hall, and it's this one. Okay, that's all fair and good. I'm gonna need to do things to increase its worth in the near future, actually. One such thing would be to build fancy statues, which are, you know, a sign of wealth. So let's try that. Let's go build furniture, fancy statue. This requires me to have a statue. I do not have a statue. Okay. I would need to find out where statues are made. Presumably they're made of stone. Cut stone into blocks. Craft furniture into stone blocks. Craft trinkets and statues. Ooh, that's the one I want. This requires a workbench, a chair, and a chisel to make a stone carver. Well, where am I going to get those things? I can get a workbench at a crude workbench. I can get a workbench at a crude workbench or carpenter shop. Crude workbench carpenter, crude workbench carpenter. So clearly, to make a stone carver, I'm going to need to have a crude workbench or a carpenter shop. Well, how can I make a carpenter shop? That sounds like the better of the two options. It requires a workbench, a chair, and a chisel. So already I'm hoping the intuitive among you are getting a sense of how this is going to work. I'm going to need to build a station to craft stuff with, gather resources to build stuff from that station, and then build the next station up until I can build the stuff I actually want. I will tell you right now that my initial goal when I first started playing this game was to not starve, because, you know, that's typically how colonies die in my opinion. And, I mean not in my opinion, in my experience before this game. And that meant getting a kitchen, which required a table, a chair, and a knife. And the amount of work it took to actually get these items basically made me build tons and tons of stuff in the interim. Let us begin then by making a crude workbench. Build crude workbench. Cuts logs into planks. Okay then. It requires logs and raw stone, one of each, to make a crude workbench. 98 and 232 are present in my world. Raw stone, obviously, from digging myself here, and logs from all the deforestation I did on the surface. So, putting 2 and 2 together, I should be able to make a workbench, and I intend to make a couple, just so that I'm not limited in how fast I can build the parts I need out of them. Let's go with 1. Somebody needs to remove that cotton. 2. And I guess 3 is pushing it, but whatever, 3. Now all of a sudden my builders have something to do because I've begun building stuff. So you'll notice that the first thing that they do is drop down a log in preparation for building the workshop, and then they come and grab back some stone, and then they get to work actually building it, and then it's built. Now I have a crude workbench. What does a crude workbench do? As the tooltip sort of hinted, it is responsible for letting me bench work stuff. I can turn logs... these are the items I can make. A plank will cost me 1 log, and will produce 1 plank. A chair will cost me 4 logs... 4 planks, and will make me a chair. So obviously I'm going to need planks in order to make a chair. 6 planks to a workbench, and 2 raw stone to make a chisel. So in short, making a chair, a workbench, and a chisel together will cost 10 planks and 2 stones. Clearly it's not going to be that fast. Now one thing I could do would be to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 planks, then a chair, then a workbench. Right? That would technically maybe do it. But that's tedious, and this game is against tedium. So instead what you can do is say, make me a chair. And the chair will say, oh, well we need planks in order to do that. So it's going to queue up an order for plank making. And after this order completes and it gets a chair, it'll say, wait, we still need a plank. So it will recreate the dependence. And this chain, by the way, goes back quite a distance. I'll show you what I mean. Let's cancel the chair order. Let us say that instead I jumped ahead and went down to... Actually, where's a good spot for a stone cutter? Given that the stone cutter is going to be operating with the raw bricks that I bring home from my mining expeditions, let's actually set him up near the mining expedition sites. So here, here, and here. So build me a stone cutter. And the stone cutter, I'm just giving this away, turns stone into blocks, and all of these things require stone blocks, so he's the first that needs to be set up. So let's drop a stone cutter here. Ooh, what is that in the wall? Coal. Amazing. I'm like within copper and coal, and I'm not even outside my main base yet. So this guy has designated a task that says I need a workbench, a chair, and a chisel. Right? And this guy now says, well, maybe I have to go, but you'll see it in a second. This guy now says, make me a workbench. Why? For the build job at the stone cutter. And this guy says, oh, well the workbench will require planks, so build me a plank. So in this manner, the whole system feeds back its requirements over and over and over. I'm going to do something which I don't strictly speaking have to do and say, I want you to craft planks at this workstation until there are 10 of them. I never want to be without a few spare planks, because I happen to know for a fact that we're just going to end up needing them. And this would be a not so bad time to allow builders to be plank makers. You'll notice that my grove has hit the point where the folks in charge of it are now busy planting saplings to tend to its growth. I don't like woodcutters prioritizing the planting of saplings. I want that to be their lowest priority. So find me, or not lowest, but lower than being the crafters you're supposed to be. So farmers? No. Woodcutters. Mining is not important, building is not important, you don't have the rules for that far, so grove maintenance is fairly important. Agriculture is even more important, because if I order you to cut down a tree, obviously I want it done now. Construction... I'm not seeing where was it. Oh, workshop is where it's going to be under. Workshop usage is less important than grove maintenance. More important than grove maintenance. Less important, I guess. Yeah, grove maintenance is more important for you guys. In fact, I think this order is very reasonable. I'll just have to suck up that nobody's manning the station for the moment. Except maybe... Okay, you, on the other hand, have no business prioritizing it. You're a builder. Act like one. In fact, I'm redefining you as builder-crafter, as opposed to builder-treebeard. Okay. So now, with that in place, this guy should come by and start doing his thing shortly. Meanwhile, the miners, because they are idle, because they finished all their work, have now settled down in the Great Hall, because that's where my idle people go. I'm going to extend the dining room to encompass the entirety of this floor, which unfortunately is going to require a lot of work to actually make valuable, because right now the worth of my Great Hall is 0. One thing I might do, let's go ahead and set the miners up with orders to begin continuing the process of mining. So why don't you guys go ahead and dig into the earth over here, and we'll start working this lower area. Meanwhile, the workbenches need to be manned. And who are you guys? You're not miners, and yet you're idle. You're a builder-crafter, so he just got the message, the memo that he's supposed to be doing more than he's doing. The rancher-butcher... See, and this is where it comes into a question of how much do you want to micromanage. Okay, did you not get the memo? You're supposed to be working, bro. You're a builder-crafter. There is an outstanding build order to... Oh, there's no outstanding build order. That's the problem. This workstation has it, this one doesn't. So, order me to craft a plank, keep crafting until there are 10 of them. Or 12 is fine. Don't stop. Go. There you go, much better. Now this workstation is going to constantly be working that angle. The miners have come back to the Great Hall because their tasks are complete. Lazy bums. Because they've dug out the beginning of the tunnel network, which is fine. Let's go ahead and order them to continue digging the tunnel network. We're going to get that to be fairly deep fairly quickly. You shouldn't go below -7 until you're willing to fight some form of combat, though, just as an FYI. One other thing we might do, actually, remember how I said I was going to designate this area as my larder? Let's designate this area as a stockpile for food, so that it can become my food aisle, and that way people who go to the dining room don't have to carry their food twice the distance. All forms of food will be accepted for the moment. And drink, why not? The only other thing would be to build storage crate here eventually. And you'll notice now that building that storage crate probably had the side effect of... Oh, actually no, I don't have the capability of building crates yet. Okay, so, the people who were idle now have tasks to do, namely haul. And so this stuff is going to start getting carried around. Ooh! People fell asleep on the floor. Well, that just simply won't do, will it? I forgot to design an area for sleep, didn't I? This is my dormitory. Let's go ahead and set it up as such. Designate area, this area, as a dormitory. That's fine. And build me, within the dormitory, some fashionable straw beds. Now, straw beds cost nothing but straw, and I have 30 of it. Unfortunately, until the wheat harvest, it'll be a while before I get more. So I'm just going to build 4 straw beds, because I don't want my yaks to starve. Hopefully not more than half my colony will fall asleep at once. La 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 la, hitting fast forward. These guys are busy working the other farms now, which they should be. Unfortunately, the craftsmen have, you know, begun to fall asleep. Now, technically opening with a stonecutter is not the optimal move, so I'm actually going to cancel that job. All the work that we've done on it so far, however, will not be wasted because all those parts are fairly interchangeably useful. I'm actually going to open with a carpenter, so I can make more furniture. A sawmill would have been a nice option, but I'm willing to wait a little bit longer on that. Because it doesn't open up new crafting tracks for me. Yeah, why not? You can have the front door position, I don't really care. Alright, in you get. Hitting fast forward, letting the game run. We are on day 2 of spring currently. You guys aren't idle, are you? No, you're planting trees. Okay, good. They're using all of the saplings we've cut to do that. And one thing I could do would be to expand the grove further so that they have even more saplings to work with. I am definitely going to expand that farm to include the squares that were left out of it the first time. So now they can plant even more strawberries. Okay, these guys woke up, and they've gotten back to work on crafting, which is, you know, how it should be. Incidentally, this crude workbench is also going to be designated as an overflow for planks eventually. So if I don't have 12 planks, I want you to keep planking. Same with you. You, on the other hand, you do what you actually have to do here. Okay, so these two are done. Oh, I see, we'll make a... So all of these are basically overflows for plank production. Make sure I have 12 planks at all times. And there's not a whole lot to explain right now, which is why I'm not doing any explaining. Notice that the dormitory has already begun to do work, and the people who are tired will go here to sleep now and sleep on the straw beds. You, what are you? Rancher, butcher, miner. Well, the miners have finished up, so let's continue to order them to dig deeper and deeper. Whoa, what is this? Oh, I'm sorry, my screen is just dark. I didn't recognize what was going on here for a second. The other thing I might do, actually, because I intend for this to be the stone cutter, this to be the stone mason, this to be the stone other guy, I'm gonna actually start piling up stone here. So, designate an area, a stockpile if you will, adjacent to where the stone cutter is gonna live, actually. Saying, why don't you raw stones? Just stockpile my raw stone here. So, any form of raw stone, be it basalt or marble, and I'm sure others will come shortly. I just want stashed in a nice pile in a circle around where I will eventually keep the craftsman who uses them. This will put to work all of my lazy, shiftless gnomes who don't have anything better to do than haul. Also, it will help me identify who they are so that I can, you know, give them better orders. This guy is actually going to cut the stairs out, which is good. Or not the stairs, yeah, the ramp. Blah 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 blah. And now we play the waiting game. Any of you familiar with SimCity will know that sometimes when your city is on the go, all you really can do is watch it go. Digging my way through the shallower floors. I think once I'm at depth -3 or -4, I'm just gonna start, like, mass digging the entire floor out. And you'll notice that I leave these 2x1s, and then I never touch the C shape around them. The reason I do that is because I've occasionally lost the ramp itself, like the ramp itself caves in, and the result is that my miners get trapped and die. I don't want that to happen. I know how to save them now and rescue them, but it's a very tedious, painstaking process, and I would rather not have to do it if I don't have to. Okay, why are you guys sleeping on the floor? They were so busy with their work they didn't make it all the way to the dormitory? No, the dormitory's beds were all full. That's the problem. Can I afford one more straw bed? Yeah, I think so. I'll be down to 20 straw. Presumably the wheat harvest will come in by day 5 or so. And look at how all the idle people get busy stacking stone for me. Stone stacks automatically, so you don't have to build, like, storage crates or anything. Alright, we are now deep enough that I feel safe in mining this entire floor out. So we're gonna do that. And this is gonna keep my builders busy for diggers busy for a very long time. It will also help level up their mining skills, and who knows what kind of stone I'm going to, or valuables I will unearth, considering that I've already found copper and coal on the first floor. Okay, this map is definitely bigger than I'm used to, so mining out the entire floor might actually not prove to be simple. Ah, see that little spot on the bottom, right here? Red and gray. The gray indicates how far you would fall if you actually stepped there, and the red indicates that there's imperfection in the terrain. I'm going to avoid digging that square out then, on the off chance that my gnome would end up dying. And hopefully once I can have a better look at it, I can decide more closely what to do with it. Okay, dig the floor. Actually, just for sake of convenience, please leave this stripe unaltered, so that my entrance is marginally more secure. Okay. And again, you see why I use the delete insert, so that I can hotkey the remove task, remove designation, and get that done really easily. Okay, so the idle folk are being idle, and the workshop isn't done yet. How come? You don't have any of this done? I would have thought it would be done by now. What's missing? Workbench for build job, still not done. Oh, because the people who are supposed to be working on it are asleep. Everybody's gotta sleep sometime, I guess. And when they're done sleeping, they're probably going to want to put the straw down for the beds, because building is their top priority, not workshopping. La 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 la. I could technically get about assigning new orders, maybe I should, but I'm kind of tunnel visioned right now for the sake of simplicity. And there is enough flexibility in the game that you can afford to do that. It's not like you have to play optimally in order to survive, or something like that. Come on, wake up, you assholes. I work for you. Food is doing good, drink is doing good. Food is primarily doing good on account of all of the fruit that I've been harvesting from this giant grove of mine. And look, the moment the trees came up, they quickly clipped them so that they could get more saplings, so that they could plant more saplings. Next step is going to be taking the fruit and felling the trees and, you know, doing it all over again. Okay, there we go. We got the builder back, and he just gathered up a whole bunch of stuff from an adjacent station, presumably because there are enough planks available to make the workbench, which will get us along the way to making this item complete. Also, put up an order for a chisel, just randomly here. That way we can get the chisel needed for this job done in parallel, rather than in sequence. My miners now have enough work that it will take them a while to finish, and so presumably I can just leave them to it. You'll notice that they are definitely getting faster with their mining. Reason for that is they level up their skill. It takes a while. I doubt they've leveled up, but their mining is at 30 and what respectively? 30 and 33, 32, 33 respectively. So this is a pretty respectable rate, especially when they're not cutting through stone but dirt. They may actually take out that whole floor before I have something in mind for them to do next. This stockpile doesn't need to remain active constantly. I just loathe idle gnomes, so I'm making them do stuff if they have nothing better to do. It seems the grove tenders have stopped tending the groves, so what I'm going to do is let us lower the priority of this stockpile to 6, because collecting raw stones is quite frankly scut work that isn't that important, and instead let us designate a new stockpile for them to fill. If you guys want to be useful, why don't you make sure that my woodcrafters don't ever have to travel for logs. Oh, crap. I accidentally merged with the pre-existing stockpile. No matter, just logs. Hopefully this works out. Remember, this whole stockpile is getting deleted afterwards. This is the larder, it still hasn't been filled. So that has to be done as well. And now that this stockpile has been turned off, they will, or put to lower priority, they will prioritize that higher. There's the workbench, all ready for my carpentry. Let's fast forward, please. I'm used to having more gnomes, honestly, so the fact that this is taking as long as it's taking is frustrating to me. The chisel has just gotten completed as well, so that's going to be useful. And there we go! The builder's ready! The workshop order has turned green, because any minute now... Boom! Our carpenter is up and good to go. And oh my god, look at the options that have opened up for me. I can make torches, I can make bellows, well, I can make a bunch of stuff. There's no point listing it all out. The big thing that I would like to point out from this list, however, is that I can make chairs and tables. Things that I was not able to make off of a crude workbench. And now, well, I guess I could make chairs, but I couldn't make tables. Now that I can make those, new workshops are open to me, including... Okay, I guess this was available to me before, huh? Well, what new workshop do I really care about, then? How far away are we from the kitchen? Kitchen requires a knife. That requires a stonemason's workshop. That requires stone cutters. So let's begin working on the stoning angle. So build me a stone cutter. Build it right here in the middle of all of the stone. And please make sure that this low priority task is not taking priority over this high priority task by comparison. Larder, okay, good. Stone cutter needs to be thrown up. And we'll worry about the stone mason after the stone cutter is in place. If y'all idiots keep at this, I'm seriously gonna fire you. Also, that's a whole bunch of people on hauling. The farmers have apparently gone idle. That's not gonna be acceptable. So what we're gonna do is declare an agricultural moment. I'm not ready to expand my grove yet, but I am gonna manually order cutting clippings off of all of these trees. That should be enough to expand my... Wait, what are these? Oh, these are just saplings. No, don't clip the saplings, please. These guys aren't ready. But yeah, that should be enough to expand my grove more fully. And it will take up their time quite admirably. There we go. Idiots don't get to be idle. The miners are, after getting some food and drink, turning to work. And holy cow, they are doing a good job. Basalt, marble. It's important to know, because the game doesn't make it clear. Well, the game does tell you, but... The game doesn't tell you, but if you look it up, the game doesn't lie to you about it either. It's important to note, all raw stone is of equal value. So it doesn't matter if you make a statue out of one or the other. Crate. Crates are now buildable. And as a result, this crate order can finally be completed. I think part of the problem I'm having is that I don't have enough builders for the sheer quantity of build jobs that are opening up. So for the moment, this rancher is going to be taught to multitask and be a builder. I'm going to change his name to indicate what his original profession was so that I don't forget when it turns custom, and order him to be in charge of carpentry and stoneworking of some kind. No, actually not stone cutting. That should be a specialist job left to specialists. So now you'll notice that the rancher is busy collecting planks to actually man the third workstation, which is good. I want all my workstations manned. I don't really care what quality his crafting comes out at, since I know what his stuff is going to be used for. The mass clip jet protocol has been completed, and now all these clippings are being used by my tree beards, my agriculturalists and farmers, to maintain / upgrade the pasture. Not the pasture, the grove. Let's extend the farm, the wheat farm, to include even more tiles than it did before. I value wheat very, very highly. And of course the farmers now will get busy, you know, tilling the soil for this, since it's a priority 4 versus the grove, which is a priority 5, and that's fine with me. So who's idle? No one. People are sleeping, people are working. This is only day 3. 12-day seasons, so spring is not even, you know, a quarter over. And I feel like already my colony is beginning to come together. At the very least, it's beginning to show signs of what line it will take shape along. I'm going to create a secondary grove. At lower priority to the primary grove. And the purpose of the secondary grove being separate from the primary is that if you put it all as one giant grove, they can get stuck never getting around to cutting trees because there's always cutting saplings to do first. So I kind of want this to be a secondary thing for when the first is totally done. Heck, I might even limit secondary grove's abilities, but the thing about, normally I would never grow trees this far out, but in this particular case I have fruit trees up front, and that's food, as well as a distillery can turn it into drink. So, kind of higher priority that way. So why is food not... Oh, you know why they haven't stored any other food here? Because all this stuff is taken up by dirt, and dirt has no other legitimate place to be stored. So I'm going to designate this area and give them an order to say, clean this floor off. And then designate a legitimate dirt storage area, temporarily of course, here. You can store soil i.e. dirt clumps, here. And with any luck, all this dirt is just gonna quickly get dumped here, and then we should be good. Crate just got placed, so that should be able to hold 30-ish food of some variety. How are we coming along with my stone cutter? Workbench complete, working on a chair and a chisel. You. Pre-build that chisel. I don't want to go in linear order, I want that to be a higher... You know what, let's just go ahead and make this a higher priority workstation. Yeah. And that way, when I want, I can demand something be done immediately. Any task that this workstation gets. These all three are going to be destroyed when I have better alternatives created, so... It's all academic anyway. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. We're planting these giant fields. This orchard grove is... I kind of don't want to cut clippings from here. I just want to go straight to the plant saplings, fell trees approach. If I have excess clippings, or saplings, put them here. Otherwise, just cut the trees down. And pick the fruit. You know what? At this early in the game, it's not important. It's not a good idea to be too picky. So let them finish planting up this grove, and then they'll get to my secondary grove. Alright, where are we at, guys? What are you all doing? Everyone's asleep, hence the fact my colony feels dead. It's raining, and that's why you see that random blue plus sign appearing in random places. How is the mining gone up, by the way, on the order to cut an entire floor? They're actually making really good progress. It's honestly a lot less important that they finish this, and a lot more important that they train their ability to cut. Now, there is a side effect. Monsters can spawn in dark caverns, and you'll notice that since I put no source of light, all these squares are in red because they're all dark caverns when I turn on the dark light view. However, they do not spawn in caverns above depth -7, so that's why I don't feel the need to worry about a giant floor clearing operation like this. It's not like they're going to spawn. I need to light the entire area when I'm done, though I may choose to do so for aesthetic reasons. How's your skills coming, by the way? Already leveled up to like level 36. Already up to level 33 or 35. So clearly my plan to raise their skills by making them mine is working. What are you guys up to? He's crafting planks en masse because that's a standing order, which is good. And you're on that work on the chisel, again good. How's the carpenter coming along? It needs a chair, and this station is probably working on the chair. No, it's not. WTF, mate. Where's my chair getting made? Oh no, this is working on the chair for the build job. And this needs the chair and the chisel. Perfect. So all tasks needed to make my stone cuttery are in play. And it looks like we've finally gotten around to tending my secondary orchards because the first is completely tended to. You know, all these trees here have already been clipped. Let's go ahead and fell these trees for even more logs. And of course more fruit by extension. Yeah. In terms of my log stores, I should be doing really good right now. I have like 100, yep. Significant logger working. Beautiful. Planks have all been gathered up. The carpenter is now at work on the chair. Unfortunately for my plank crafters, to them that means we don't have enough planks now, because 12 is my mandatory minimum, so they're quickly getting back to work crafting even more planks. There we go, workbench complete. He's going to carry all the parts and build me a stone cutter out of orange logs. Or orange planks. And that is, in a very small nutshell, how crafting and building stuff works in this game. Yeah. I don't know what else to say about that, so probably a good time to break this vid, and... where's my... There's my mass floor. Actually, we're coming across a fair amount of metal. We found a lot of copper here, and a fair amount of copper up here. I probably have enough to start doing some metal work, eventually. I'm not going to prioritize it, because I haven't even gotten stonework up yet, and stonework tends to be easier. One thing I am going to do is say craft repeatedly... Or, not really, yeah, I want you to craft me 10 stone blocks as a baseline minimum, because that's going to be important to work with. And I also want to build a new workshop for stone, which is the stone mason. I should be able to make stuff out of my stone blocks, and that's what the mason will do. Boom, boom. Let's keep him next door to the stone cutter. Really, I should have put the stone cutter in the middle, so what I'm going to do is put a new dig job this way. And that way I can put a new workshop here. And who are you, by the way? Builder Crafter. Okay, so the Builder Crafter, because I've given them the general permissions to do crafting of all kind, have gone from being the most idle to some of the busiest gnomes I have. Comes with the terrain. I can revert it to just being a builder if I ever desire that. And this carpentry should be... Yes, it's busy trying to make workbenches. Excellent, excellent. Constant work. Alright, let us go ahead and put a change of orders in here. I'm going to show you something which took me a long time to learn. It's a little bit of a tricky technique. See how these crates are stationed in this area? Let's say I want to move them. Because they're planted in the storage area, there's no move command, and when I say build storage crate, it's going to say I don't have any available. Let's say, however, I remove this as a storage area. I delegitimize it. Now these crates have nowhere to live. So when I say build storage build storage crate, it says I have 3 of them available. These 3, to be precise. So what I'm going to do is rebuild my storage crates over here in the larder, along with the storage barrel. There's no way to specify which one I want moved, unfortunately, and so they're going to bring the one that has bandages and armor, despite the fact that I would rather leave that on the surface. That's fine. The bags can stay on the surface, because those contain mostly seeds and strawberries and the like. And even if they don't, they will soon be replaced with that. This leaves me free to redesignate this area, this stockpile around the wood tables, as logs only. So that they remain filled with logs for my busy woodcutters. Who's idle, if anyone? Nope, no one's idle. Everyone's busy. Good, that's how it should be. Stonecutter, making blocks. Carpenter is making a chair, on account of the fact that the stone mason is going to need a chair. Chisel is going to be required in a moment, so let's go ahead and You know what, let's just craft 4 chisels, because apparently I keep needing them. So it might be nice to have a few extras handy. And of course the haulers are busy doing their thing. Since the clear floor order has been complete, I'm just gonna cancel this stockpile altogether. I don't really care about dirt removal. It's a tedious and meaningless job until you have something to do with that dirt, like a prospector. Meanwhile, the larder is getting its build orders complete. Actually, is it? Yeah, the build orders are complete in the larder. Perfect. So now my food is going to be stored right next to the dining hall. You know, I could build chairs and tables for the dining hall at the very least. But right now I need every chair and table I'm making for, you know, my more urgent tasks. Speaking of more urgent tasks, these guys are going to take forever to finish digging up. What are you carrying? This guy's clearly carrying something. Is he trying to... Oh! The farmers are idle, so they're replacing the stones in the raw stone pile. which is shameful because my farmers have no right to be idle right now. So if they're really idle, then I'm just going to order them to start cutting clippings off of the remaining trees. I mean, the thing is, clippings do grow back, so there's no harm in cutting those out and then having them replant them here. And yeah, this is way bigger a fruit farm than you need this early on. But that's fine, because excess food isn't going to rot or anything like that. And the 170 fruit is going to do more than just be useful in my distillery. It's also going to function as food, albeit low-level food, not high-level food. You know, I should really cut down some apple clippings too, now that I think about it, since you guys clearly are in need of more work and not less. I will order apple clippings to be cut so that I can make an apple orchard. In fact, this orchard here that's an orange orchard, my orange grove secondary, let's promote it to an apple grove and make it a primary. Now, the thing is, none of these are planted, but if there were orange trees planted within my apple grove, they would just, it's not like they would know to get rid of them. They'll just ignore them there and leave them as an obstruction until someone or something gets rid of them for me. I wonder if this is not reachable. I assume it's a reachable job, but if it's not reachable, I think it's reachable. Okay, the stonemason was completed when I wasn't paying attention. Excellent. So now, I'm going to start ordering the construction of stuff. Ooh, we can now make a knife. And if we can make a knife blade, and what is, it's actually interesting to show you this, so I will. We can make a knife, right? But the knife requires, oh, it just requires, or that's, sorry, a knife. But the knife requires a hilt, which can be made in the carpenter's workshop, and a knife blade that can be made here, out of blocks. So eventually, it'll get completed by all the different dependencies. And once I have the knife, I can finally build a kitchen. Pop under food drink. Yup. Blah 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 blah. I think the natural place for the kitchen, where was it? Was it here? No, this is going to be the butcher shop, the bone carver, the kitchen. Yeah. I'm going to put all of the inputs for production here, and a little bit of extra space that I carve out for it, because kitchens tend to be overrun with demand. And I can make an auxiliary kitchen in the long run, here, without breaching the aqua area. Okay, perfect. The distillery is going to require access to the fruit. Instead of keeping it here, I can just carve a second hallway and keep it out here, I guess. It's another option. Perfect. Okay, running again. And this video is getting kind of long, so I'm going to go ahead and cut it. But I really wanted to show the idea of building dependencies, and then knowing how to go about trying to find where you can fulfill those dependencies. And since we're on day 4, I think we've done a very fair amount of building for just one day. Thank you all for watching. When we come back next time, I'm probably just going to continue business as usual for a little while, with the fast forward button depressed, and see if we can't get our statues up a little bit. So thank you all for watching, and I will see you guys next time.